Back when I was growing up, there were so many beach stages, guys. Games that take place on islands, whole plots revolving around water, and if they didn't, they would at least have a beach stage there. It was one of the best ways you could show off your game graphically. GameCube, PS2, Xbox, that shit was the holy trinity. That era is so iconic just for water graphics alone. But there is a console that's in the same generation that people rarely talk about compared to the rest, and in my opinion, kickstarted the whole water trend itself, and it's a console called Sega Dreamcast. Everything about that felt next gen at the time. I was in my diapers and I felt the significance of that sound. I felt the bass in my balls, and I even have any. My uncle owned a Dreamcast and that guy had every game under the sun in terms of variety, and it was unstoppable, is what I would say if the thing didn't shit itself and kick the bucket. That's a story for another day though. The games that caught my eye all contained water, and at the right page of maybe 3 or 4, that's where the start of my trauma began. Oh, it's not that serious. Yeah, Sega Bass Fishing is a game my uncle played a lot with the fishing rod. I got a fishing rod back in storage, but respectfully, I'm not getting that right now. Anyway, this game scared me. Keep in mind, as a 3-year-old coming into consciousness, I didn't really understand what fish were, and this was my first introduction to them. The physics of the fish flippage was so intense that it creeped me out. And then you had people like my uncle in the background gaslighting me, talking about, oh, it's just water, what are you afraid of? Yeah, it's just water. Keep telling yourself that. When he let me play, he didn't put me in the starting area like a normal person would, but he would put me in the most ratchet location there was in that game. I forgot where it was. I think it was in Memphis.
We believe in family. We believe in Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve.
Played a couple seconds of that, and once I casted my thing in the water, I said, hell no, I'm not doing this. That was the first incident. It was nothing too crazy, nothing too traumatic or anything, but it was enough for me to be like, yo, that's weird. I don't like that. The other game my uncle played a lot was Sonic Adventure. 3D, high-speed action platforming, colorful cast of characters. Whoa, this game was the craziest thing to my childhood self, and let's be honest, it's my favorite game of all time. That's besides the point. At the time, he did not let me play this game for some reason, but there was one day where he did, and he picked Big and trapped me in Twinkle Park.
Welcome to Twinkle Park.
For those of you who don't know what Big's gameplay is, take an educated guess. Stupid fucking idiot. These fish weren't nearly as scary as the ones at Sega Bass Fishing, but it was still enough to reaffirm my fear of fish. And why my uncle chose Big out of all the playable characters in this game, I have no idea. Is my uncle a dickhead? I think he is. Don't worry, because after this, there was no more plotting and planning against me. It's just me and the game. Oh man, I love the GameCube. My first GameCube was Indigo, and I don't know what happened to it. I think I had to trade it in or something. I was stupid. It was clearly the wrong decision, but don't worry, because I'm gonna buy that factory new someday. Anyway, when my mom bought it, it came with Luigi's Mansion. And what does Luigi's Mansion have to do with water? Absolutely nothing. But just know that I got that game and I was too pussy to play it, so I had my mom play it for me, but then she got tired of playing it for me, so she went out and got me Mario Sunshine. You know, the water game?
Super Mario Sunshine! Woohoo!
Sunshine got the best video game water. It looks like Baja Blast or Pepsi Blue, or for the Slavic bastards out there, Fanta Shokata. It didn't make me comfortable in video game water, but it definitely did alleviate some of that uneasiness. There were definitely things that weirded me out in Sunshine too. I was fine with water that looked ocean blue, but anything that was a different tint from Delfino Plaza, I didn't really like going near. Bianco Hills has reflective water. In turn, it makes it look dirtier, and I don't like going in dirty water, so I'm not gonna go in it, especially since I can't see the bottom. There were also these spider things I was afraid of. Wow, man, that was pretty stupid. The game throws you in some uncomfortable situations too, like this eel boss. God, like, this thing is not scary by design, but it's the velocity and turbulence, like, you feel the powerfulness. It's so big, and it can suck you in. Oh, fuck. Mario Sunshine was like a vacation for me until that next big incident. We're not talking about that yet, because there's 2 games that made my fear of water even worse, and perhaps this is where that trauma starts. And one of them is a game from Down Under. Underrated platformer straight from Australia. Shout out to them for making my childhood.
Gum trees, wallabies, and even a koala. There's plenty to do here, so let's get a move on.
Like any platformer in the early 2000s, you had to have a water stage. So here's a water stage.
Hi, my
Mate, good to see you again.
G'day, Rex.
I need a favour, mate. Elle went for a bit of a swim out near Danger Spike. It's a nice little spot, not too far from Shark Reef.
Yeah, and?
I'm on lifeguard duty, so could you have a look for me?
Sure, no worries.
So he mentioned sharks and sharks only. My dumbass thought that there would be no other aquatic life in the water. So imagine the drop my heart had when I saw this big ass fish, big fat ass fish marinating in the water. Till this day, I don't know what that fish looks like. If I'm not required to go near it, I'm not going to. There's some eels in this stage and they're not that big of a deal. You could just pass by them in 1 second. But once you turn the corner, the developers were trolling, bro. At least this section doesn't last long and the sharks look cute. They look like they're suitable for children's media. I can't say the same thing about that eel and whatever the hell that was back there. But overall, I think it's one of the better kids games to handle aquatic life. I can't say the same thing about this next game though. If you're wondering why I got blood on my face, it's because I was shaving and no one taught me how to shave. I grew up fatherless. Anyway, you guys know Frogger? You know the game where you cross the road to get to the lily pads to get back to your family? Yeah, that Frogger. There were many iterations in a short span of time. You probably grew up with the one that looked like an actual frog, the one that looked like a cartoon, or the one that I grew up with that looked like this.
I wish I may, I wish I must find a princess before I bust.
What the flip? Did he literally just say that? I played this game at a very specific point in my life. I think the Xbox just came out. My uncle got that and my grandma pretty much forced him to give me the PS2, and that was one of the first games I played. I think I had a high fever. It was like the middle of winter or some shit. I was eating chicken noodle soup with pretzels and drinking some ginger ale. Bro, even in bad health, like you have to make the most of it. So I don't remember much about the game, but I do remember that there is a messed up looking fish. And I'm not just talking about oh, it's scary for a fish. No, I remember playing it and the fish emerged and it had a man's face. Obviously, I had to go back to this game to record footage, and one of the first things you see in this game is that pikefish. And Jesus Christ, man, that thing looks ugly. It looks like a man's soul is trapped in that fish, which is trapped in the video game. It feels a little bit too real for me. I don't know, man. That thing is not nice to look at. But for some reason, I don't remember that fish being that small, because personally, I wouldn't have recoiled and dropped the soup all over my sheets and myself. Instead of playing more of this, I said, you know what, let me just look it up online and look up this pikefish. And the fish is even bigger than Frogger. There are fish that look like that are bigger than the main character. That's a hell no from me. I completely understand why that thing traumatized me bad. Oh man, I was not having a good night. Up until now, you've seen the progression, the timeline of events. But what you don't know is what comes next. Bars. On a chilly night, on November 2011, I got a call from Mario. Oh my God, Mario!
Hello, no one is available to take your call. Please leave a message after the tone.
Hi, I'm Charles Martinet, the voice of Mario, and you may know me a little better like this. Hello, it's me, Mario, woohoo! And I'ma call you because I'm here at the GameStop where they telling me that you pre-ordered my newest and the greatest game, Super Mario Galaxy, woohoo! It's an amazing game, and it's gonna be here tomorrow at your local GameStop, whoopee! Thank you very much for buying my new game, Super Mario Galaxy, at the GameStop, woohoo!
Words can't describe how hype I was for this game. Promotional art was plastered everywhere. I lost my mind. The magnitude of this release was earth-shattering. Surprisingly, there's not much documented, but trust me, bro, I was there. And let me tell you, the whole world couldn't wait to play this game. And when I got it with my Wii, I couldn't believe how cool it was. Little did I know that that day was the day I got the worst jump scare in my life. Oh man, this is messed up, guys. Last time I checked, Mario Galaxy was a game about Mario going to space. So what's it doing in this video? Well, surprisingly, out of 42 galaxies, there are 10 water levels. That's a lot of water levels for a game about space. After hours of playing it, I unlocked the Kitchen Dome, which houses the first big water level of this game, Beach Bowl Galaxy. Bro, look at this place. There's penguins, vines you can swing on with the cool physics, swings everywhere. It's just a really nice, cozy environment. So what are we doing here? You find these two penguins and they're talking about sparkly things. So you talk to the head chief and he's like, yo, these sparkly things are distracting the penguins, so you gotta collect them. Gee, I sure hope that there are no creatures beyond my comprehension in that water. Let's take a dip. 1, 2, 3, 4. had a Wiimote in this hand, a nunchuck in the other, and I was locked in. I was leaning forward into my CRT TV. And then when I got to that last chip, the thing popped out. And I said, like I physically gasped. Like I was breathing in air, but I was losing it at the same time. The shit knocked the wind out of me, bro. I don't even know how that's possible. The fear I felt, I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. Actually, why wouldn't I? We're gonna get to how that filth looks, but first, let's talk about level design. This is where you spawn, and most of the collectibles are in this general area. The last remaining two are on the other side where that eel is. You could collect them in any order that you want, but this chip is last for a lot of people. The worst thing about Beach Bowl jump scare is that you cannot be prepared for it. Nothing can prepare you for the level 5 threat that's in that water. There is no tension or buildup. Let's take a look at Mario 64 and Jolly Roger Bay. It says plundered the sunken ship. You're already thinking to yourself, oh man, I'm gonna have to go to the bottom of the sea floor. As you're swimming to that sea floor, you think to yourself, because it takes a hot minute to get down there, you think to yourself, something could be down here. Better be careful. You could brace yourself. In Sunshine, they were just playing with that. They obviously weren't serious. They said it in the title screen. But with Galaxy, they have a 3D model in the level select, and it looks really like small, and you get to the place and you can see the edge of the map from when you start off. You get the impression that this is completely innocent. It's finally a break from all the more serious stages. It's time to relax is what this level is trying to say. And then you start to collect the chips for the penguins, and the stage starts funneling you through, and this eel pops out at you, bro. And it's like seeing Sarah J for the first time. It's trifling. It's like trifling experience. Don't even get me started on how this thing even looks. What is this? You take a look at 64 eel. It looks like a normal eel. Maybe a kid would be scared of it. I don't see any adults being scared of that. It doesn't dive into nightmare fuel or anything. It looks a little abstract because of N64 graphics. But overall, it's not too bad. You cut to Sunshine, the eel looks more cartoony. The thing is scary because of its size and its sheer velocity. But other than that, it looks more like a cartoonish eel. No problems here. And then you get the Galaxy. Oh, Mario Galaxy, how much I love you. What the hell is happening here? It's like they went for a realistic look, but then decided, you know what, maybe we should make it a little bit cute. Then they ended up somewhere in the middle and created Nightmare Fuel. This is Nightmare Fuel. Nintendo knew that they landed on a crazy design because they used it in almost every stage that has water in it. I'm not even joking. And guess what? They were taking the piss right in front of our faces. Look at this. They made a whole galaxy dedicated to them. This is not commitment. This is obsession. Nintendo wanted to shove these eels up their asses. What is the deal with that? Correct me if I'm wrong, but this is the only eel in the whole series to transcend into another game. It pretty much remains unchanged in Galaxy 2. And yeah, it's only for like a level or two, but come on, man. You know that they couldn't help themselves. They had to just shove this thing in a hole somewhere in that game. On the topic of how this thing looks, when I look at it, it doesn't register as an eel to me. Because when I think of eels, I think of water snakes, and this doesn't look anything like one. So I thought maybe it's based on an anglerfish because they're ugly. Like, look at them. I looked it up, and I ended up finding a blog post off of Tumblr from God knows how many years ago. I don't know how to read Tumblr blogs. I'm sorry, I'm stupid. But I did find what this eel was based off of, I think. Someone suggested that it's this thing. It's called Gigantora. And honestly, this eel looks really cool in its natural habitat where it belongs. Not at the bottom of a level in a children's game. I'm sorry, I can't get over how ridiculous this looks compared to all the other eels. I'm gonna show a thing up on screen. You tell me which eel is the creepiest to you. It could be just me. You could think that the one in Mario Odyssey is the scariest one. By the way, shout out to that game for actually reusing that eel jump scare. It's tucked away at the edge of the map, so it's really hard to even like run into, but if you mess around, you'll definitely find out. Being afraid of this particular eel kind of sucks because Galaxy 1 is the only 3D Mario game I haven't 100%ed. And guess how I found out about Luigi? I went to my boy's house maybe a couple months later or maybe a year later, and he started playing with Luigi. I'm like, what is this, a mod? Did you mod your Wii? He's like, nah. I asked him, did you teabag in a corner somewhere at a certain wall? He said, no, you have to 100% it. 100% it? Yeah, I'm not doing that with that thing in the water. No thanks. It sucks a lot, bro. Because I missed out on one of the best gaming screens of all time.
Super Luigi Galaxy.
You want to know the funny thing about fear? Is that sometimes that shit does not make sense. I was afraid of a cartoonish eel in Mario Galaxy, but when Far Cry 3 dropped, I platinumed it. Do you guys know what Far Cry 3 is? Everything attacks you in that game, and every animal has a jump scare animation if you're not paying attention to it. Snakes bite you, dogs bite you, sharks bite you. You could punch a shark in that game. Alligators could drag you underneath the water and you have to wrestle with them. How did I get through that game 100%ing it, going into underwater caverns and all of that nonsense, and not go back and be able to platinum Mario Galaxy or 100% Mario Galaxy because there's an eel in the water? Life doesn't make sense sometimes. Do you guys have something like that you're afraid of that's not specifically horror related? Let me know. And as for my completion of Galaxy 1, I'll do it someday. That sounds like a fun stream. I want to get into streaming too. So let me know if you guys are interested in that. Next video is going to not be video game related. It's going to be something a little bit different, but I feel like you guys will like it. Thank you for watching this video. If you like my stuff, subscribe, like, comment. You know all of that. I'm not going to throw a graph in your face. I'm not going to say subscribing is free. What do I sound like, a moron? Listen, I'm not saying that I'm any better than those people that do, but I just want to punch them in their throats when I see that. I sometimes immediately click off the video if a graph is thrown in my face telling people that they should subscribe, because 90% of people don't subscribe. I don't give a fuck. Sorry about that. Sorry about the rant. 2024 is about to be a big year for me and this channel, so, you know, it would be cool if you guys are there. But other than that, thank you for watching. Take care of yourselves and have a damn good one. Those of you who know, you know.